So welcome to the Node.js Technical Steering Committee meeting for April 29th, 2022. We'll follow our standard approach, which is to look at the things that we've tagged for milestone 11 and use that to drive the discussion. So I will share my screen. I think this is the right one, hopefully. And so first of all, let's see, drive towards full coverage. I don't think we have Jack who usually jumps in there. So I don't know if anybody else has updates in terms of like adding coverage on some tests or anything like that.
He did have a PR open for async context. I reviewed that one today.
Okay.
And that looks fine.
Good. Okay. So continuing to add in and fill in the different places. That's good. Next, the stale issues in the Node add-on API to discuss. So let's see what we got there. Okay, so there's nothing new, but let's just peek into the ones that we've got here. Which one is this? This is right. This had to do with one of the options. I know. So Vladimir, you started to do a little bit of work on that. Anything we should talk about that one?
So technically, yes, we kind of discussed it last time, and what I found that previously, it's kind of repeating what we discussed last time a little bit. They're using in none, they're using object template, and we don't have any Node API around this object template. But we discussed last time. So technically, JavaScript has proxy object, and proxy object pretty much does almost the same. Maybe not exactly, but almost the same. And last time I promised that I'm going to implement some tests. So I worked on it and I didn't complete it completely complete, but I do have something working end-to-end for a very simple case. Like you have some simple object, and this simple object has add method and it works. If you look on test.js, it looks a little bit simpler there.
This one right here?
Yeah. So technically, at this point, we can create this object and we can add there. And if you look in a C++ code, yes, I have to write some infrastructure, but technically speaking, we can have this as a part of our C++ header files. And anyway, I'm trying to do it like, and it works. So technically it's more like for us to decide, do we want to proceed this way or not? But I still want to iterate on it a little bit to make it more complete.
Right. So this is, I mean, I guess the question is like, in terms of what you got here, it just adds a test, right?
Yes, it's a test only. So the idea is that how we can achieve exactly the same goals without adding new Node APIs. Can we just show how to use it, how to use normal proxy JavaScript object from Node API to achieve the same results?
This seems like, to me, like testing, if this is something that, you know, we're certain was covered before, adding a test that covers it seems good regardless, right? Like there's no downside, right?
Right.
Okay. So your plan is like to, add this test in, it adds test coverage. So that's good for core. And then possibly add something to Node add-on API that in terms of C++ code, or just, point to this as an example.
So what I would like to do, I'd like to have first this just plain vanilla Node API test. Then I would like to add another test in C++ Node API. And probably as a part of this Node API, we can after decide if we want to add additional functionality to simplify transition from none to Node API.
Right. Okay. That sounds good. Anybody else have any questions or anything on that one?
Nothing here.
Okay, so it sounds like there's good progress on that. That's good. We'll flip back to here. This is callback scope. I think, again, I don't think this is anything urgent or anything, right? If there's no update, any update on that one, or?
Sorry, I don't have any update.
Okay, yeah, no, that's so I think that's all that we have on the stale issue. So that's good. Tracking issues for modules that are ported. Okay, so nothing necessarily new on there, but we can always do our npm. Oops, I typed it wrong. It worked anyway. So things still are just trucking along in terms of usage, it looks like. Nothing special there. I definitely haven't looked at the debug testing yet. And then we just go back to the issues. So let's start out in Node add-on.
I'm just curious, what is debug testing for DOMs? Like, I'm able to test today. What's the issue?
Right.
Just curious.
Like in Node Core, we actually run some tests with debug enabled, like the debug option. So there's like a build option where you can build for debug. And I think there's some cases where, you know, that does some, like, has extra certs and can catch some extra things. So it would be nice to actually have some of our testing run with that under.
Okay, I see. I understand. Thank you.
So yeah, that's what that one is. It's sort of a long-standing. Yeah, that would be a good idea to figure out how to just, you know, set up the CI to append the debug and do that. Just hasn't been enough of a priority to do it. Right, so no. So here, so this one I think is, I don't know, Nick, is there anything we should talk about in terms of a new release?
No, I plan. I will do in the weekend, so tomorrow or Sunday. But okay, the new release will be 4.0, and I need to remove the support for 12 on the README, and the first RTS that we support will be 14. Is it right?
Yeah, but I think it might have to be V5, right? Because I think we've said that we've made, you know, with NodeAPI not breaking things, there's always the argument, but I think we've agreed that when we dropped support, we've done it, made it Semver major.
Right. We did say that. And there was also the discussion about that old pull request that we had for migrating the regular thread safe function to be backed by the typed thread safe function. And we couldn't land that because of the GCC compiler requirements. And we had discussed that if we wanted to wait for it to be a Semver major change to Node add-on API so that it would not break people's compilation if we landed that change. Does that sound familiar?
Vaguely, is it that, but is it that we were waiting for it to, like, an older version of Node that used that version of the compiler to drop off?
Yes.
Right, okay. So that would make sense, that, like, you know, we make it V5, and then in V5, if it doesn't support 12 and 14 supports the newer compiler, then we're okay with.
Right. That was the goal.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will be for the 5 release.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, like, I took a quick look and didn't see anything that I thought, hey, let's try and squeeze in or anything. I don't know if there's anything else that people think we should try and do that for.
I think everything's good.
Good. Okay. So, like, I think it'd be good if we cut 5, and then we can, then I'd say the next thing we should definitely land is this format all code, so that we don't land other things to to conflict with that, which is quite possible. So yeah, you know, once 5 goes out, I'll look forward, or if somebody else has time, we can look and then land the format all code one as a priority.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any other issues here that we should talk about? I don't know if any of these are all would have been active. I don't know if we talked about them last week or. No. Okay, so if there's nothing there, let's take a quick look because I don't see anything super new. We can take
There was a couple of PRs that Vladimir had on core that we just pointed out that they existed. I have not had any time to go through them, but there was one point that I did want to discuss, and I don't remember what the PR was, but it was the one where you were adding the calling standard as a macro.
this one right here.
Yes, that one.
Okay.
I just had I didn't make any comment on it, but maybe we can discuss. If you go to the files changed,
Yep.
You introduced a macro for the all uppercase NAPI status.
Yeah,
Right?
I killed it. I killed it in the latest iteration. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't like it.
Okay, yeah, because my concern that I had was I think we should separate a macro for the return value from the calling convention, because I could see maybe somebody would have tried to use a variable to declare a variable using the type as the whole uppercase and API status. And I think there would have been a little bit of confusion with that. But if that was removed, then I guess my concern is no longer valid.
Yeah, I kind of looked at it this week, and I also kind of had bad taste, especially because this macro started. The same macro was applied not only to header file but also implementation file, and I didn't like it. So thankfully, I killed this macro. The only new macro kind of is there is this NAPI cdecal. Which either cdecal or nothing.
Right.
So it's
Okay.
only change which remained. Right.
Yes. All right. So then since that resolves my concerns, I don't have any other concerns with this PR.
So what was the? Oh yeah, I guess there's I can read the thing to ask.
Yeah. So I did that, Michael. The problem was. We kind of claim that NodeAPI is a BI safe API, but if you on Windows x86 platform, if you didn't explicitly specify what your calling conventions are, it may cause issues because some DLLs or executables, they may change default calling conventions. Like for example, in Microsoft, we often by default using standard calling conventions. And while NodeAPI assumes it should be cdecal. And we had, I had personally, we had to work on some bugs in our code to address this issue. And I decided so rather than me kind of patching all these files locally for ourselves, what if we do it in NodeAPI itself and specify these calling conventions explicitly?
Okay, so we think adding this won't affect any existing users?
Right. So technically, default is cdecal. So I'm currently adding cdecal, but I had added this discussion point. Ideally, it should be a stud call because it's producing much more compact code on the calling side. But,
right. But see, so this but there must be some way where adding it helps, right? Like it changes something.
Right. So yes, if we change it to stud call, it may affect affect some call sites. But if we're doing just cdecl, we're just simply stating explicitly what already been assumed implicitly.
Okay, so this is like, it would have been cdecl already. It's just this makes it clearer if you look at the code what it is.
Right. Like in my case, issue was like that I put cdecl on some functions, but I forgot to put it on function pointers. And because of this, we changed calling conventions on our side. It was
Okay,
word was
so this
crashing.
just helps. This helps avoid people. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other questions on that one, or?
Do you have any other things that you would like to change in this PR, or do you think it's ready for review now?
I think it's ready for review because
Okay.
right now I kind of simplify it, scope down the whole thing. That just to one specific macro, it's very kind of scope down.
Right. Okay.
I have one PR that I posted in the chat. It's about documentation. If you can.
I was reading that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So in this paracast, there was an error because in NAPI in the NodeAPI sample 4, NAPI version was marked as the Node version, no?
Right.
And,
Yeah.
And Daniel Adams changed it with NAPI version 8. But I explained that NAPI, NodeAPI sample 4 is an experimental feature. So it's not part of any Node API version.
Right.
So, okay. So, and I checked, okay, I tried to explain that. And I checked all the function that we are under the experimental flag.
Mhm.
And I found some errors because, in some of these function, we don't mark the function as experimental. So yeah, I tried to explain this, and she asked us to explain in some part of the docs how we increment the version of
Right.
and what is NAPI version represent.
Right.
So yeah, I think that we can do this in another PR, but I won't ask you your thinking about this.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we have somewhere that we have. I'm just wondering if there's anywhere we've documented, like here's.
Right.
No, I don't think
Like
that.
how we decided in the past when to mark something as no longer experimental and cut a release. I guess.
I opened an issue on Node in Abyssable Node where I posted the new function that now are under experimental flag.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to promote some of them, yeah, we can do this.
Right, I'm trying to find, we definitely have a doc that has some, oh, right, so we have this adding new API. Right, and in here we do say,
For at least one minor version there, and you considered experimental for at least one minor version.
Yeah.
Before it can be considered to be okay.
but it is a good point that, like, it would be nice to have documented, like, okay, what is the process for getting something promoted, and have that, because yeah, usually it's somebody says, hey, it's time to make a new Node API version. You know, what are the things we want to put in it? And then there's just a PR to do that. And we sign, you know, we make sure that NodeAPI add-on API team members think that they're ready, but documenting all that would be good.
Do you think that we need to update this document, or the NAPI, NodeAPI documentation?
I think it would be good to have this in core. Like, unless there's like it might also be good in the documentation though, to explain to people, like, this is, I think I could see like something in this doc to explain to collaborators, you know, what is the process for saying, how do I, you know, issue a new release, right? So that part I think would be helpful. I also think though, in the documentation, there might be for an end user to explain the experimental, to, you know, just what it means there. So maybe something in the documentation as well that, you know, says you may get some. So if I looked in the doc, let's open a new window. JS API Dock. All versions. That's not getting me easier where I want to go. Let's just go here. So I wonder if we have anything. Okay. So I could see that it would be useful to maybe have a little bit more. I mean, we say that, you know, there's some experimental things, but something added to there, if there's any confusion, to sort of explain, you know, any extra explanation that the end user might need might go into there.
Yeah, because we have some explanation for when all the Node API was experimental,
right?
But we don't have maybe the right explanation for all the new feature that we add as experimental in Node API. Okay, yeah. Okay, if you want, I can try to do this.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. And you can comment maybe on the paragraphs this, or maybe I comment later.
Yeah, if you want to comment on here, because really it's we just want to remove the Nappy version in this PR.
Yeah.
Because the added is good, but then the Nappy version there isn't really a Nappy version, right?
Yeah. Okay. But for me, for the purpose of the PR is to fix this error, and it's okay. But I found other errors.
Right.
Could I ask to her to fix, or we need to create a new PR? Or...
I would say, I would suggest just letting this land, like if you're happy to do a PR for the other ones, I would say, hey, why don't we just land this and then create a new PR to fix the ones that you found.
Okay. I will create the new PR.
Okay. So, I'm always a little reluctant when somebody says, hey, on looking at something else, I found this little problem, and then I'm reluctant to go back and say, oh, and can you fix all these other things, right? Like, I'd be more like, yeah, thanks, let's land this, and we'll take on fixing the other problems that we found, kind of thing.
Okay, okay.
So let me ask you about this specific change, because it says on line below, it's still experimental. And here we say Nappy version 8. I've seen like all experimental, they typically don't have any Nappy version at all.
Right. That's what Nick had pointed out in the conversation,
Oh, yeah,
saying
okay.
that
Okay.
it should be removed.
Okay, so that's already clear in there that, yeah. So if this is just updated to just remove, then I think it looks right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. If you go to the conversations quickly, I
right.
think that's what he pointed out. And then the last one is where he looked at all of the ones that need to be fixed and basically says how it needs to look.
Okay,
This one here where it just has the added and then the stability.
right, okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think, Nick, if you just comment like, yeah, we discussed, we agreed. So if you can just update it to remove that line and you'll take a look at the others, then, that'll clarify
okay.
what the next step is on this one, and that it can land once she makes that small update. And
Okay, agree.
okay, sounds good.
And then the stability.
Right, okay. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I just pressed the button. Okay, so here we've talked about this one. We talked about, I don't know, maybe it doesn't have Node API type. Any of these other ones that need some
Yeah, I wonder
discussion?
why it's so difficult to land with NPI get all property names fixed.
Yeah, I know.
Just
It's
never ending
being
story.
very stubborn. Okay, so what I don't get is like this one here. So this is the,
I'm gonna continue to rebase it and stuff.
so this is the last, this and this, yeah. Well, here, I'm gonna try.
Do we have so unstable CI currently? What?
Yeah, the CI has been, I think, with the rush to get stuff in for 18, I kind of heard that stuff.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try and, so is this, did you push new stuff since that last CI?
I think
It looks like
I
it,
think
right?
I rebased it again from the latest.
Okay, so I'm gonna like, sometimes we can resume, but in this case, I think I'm just gonna say request STI. We'll start from scratch, and then I've been trying to keep an eye on it to say, but obviously not. I've been busy, but if we get a flaky test or whatever failure, I'll try and resume it. I think I tried that a couple times, but because of things going in, whatever, it did need a rebase at least once. So that'll kick off at one. If it doesn't pass, I'll try and see if they're flaky ones and then just resume it, and we'll try and get that landed.
Thank you.
Thanks for your continued patience on that.
And yes, also a couple of outstanding PRs. Like I want team to look at one of them. Remember this finalizer stuff. So technically, we're saying that I still going to work on this finalizers. It's more like I'm kind of if somebody wants to look and see if they see any issues with this approach, I'm still working on it.
Still working on that one. Okay, and then this other one, which is
about the ref counting stuff. So,
looking at this one, which is still. So I don't know, Lejindikas, from your perspective, is this one now ready to move forward?
Yeah, I believe it's ready for another review, and we can seek for landing it.
Okay, so I'm going to just I'm gonna kick off Express CI as well, just to, might as well do that in parallel. Just in case something comes out. Okay, so that one is ready to go. Let me just take that and.
And my PR pretty much changing exactly the same code. Just to
Oh, okay.
I'll resolve it after that.
Okay. Guess whichever one gets there, or yeah, okay. So, but
yeah, we should land it first, I guess.
Okay. Sending myself a reminder to look at that too. Okay.
And there was another one with it's not here for some reason.
Is it an issue or a PR?
It was a PR.
Okay, so it might not have the. Let me just look in PRs. And it's going to show up maybe. You mentioned this one already, I think.
It says like it has prefix NodeAPI on it.
Right. Okay. Let's. Why some of these other ones are showing up?
Yeah, let me find pull request number. Okay, numbers are 42557.
Okay, I will just pick one and then go 42557. That's
It's
an
actually
API tag anyway.
so this one should be ready to go. I updated documentation and
Okay.
tests and stuff, so it includes as soon as somebody signs off on it. I mean,
Okay.
we already have signed off, but I really want to have NodeAPI
Sure, yeah.
to look at.
Yeah. I assume these are all like marked as experimental, right? Yeah,
Right.
so they're under the experimental. I just was wondering in the doc. Yeah, okay. So here I can see. I'd have to go back and look. Like it may be that they need to have experimental in here as well.
Oh yeah,
Like the
I just saw it
stability?
in the previous when we discussed previous issue. Sorry, I'm still learning how to do it right.
Yeah, no, yeah. So it's just, yeah, like. So it's good that they're guarded here, but I think, yeah, the docs just need them experiment. I'll just put a note. Doc should indicate as experiment. Okay, I'm gonna give myself a note to look at that one too. Okay, any others that we should discuss or talk about? If not, I guess thanks for everybody for taking the time this week, and thanks Nick for taking care of that next release. And we'll see everybody next week.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.